And we are back. All right, today we are going to talk about dimensional analysis, which is just a fancy way of saying converting. So dimensional analysis, it's just a fancy way of saying unit conversions. So in this section, I'm going to stress once again that you have to show all of your work. Okay, so this dimensional analysis, we're trying to convert from one unit to the other. And if you remember from last week, we covered those SI unit prefixes. And remember, you have to know all the way from nano to giga. So in order to convert from one unit or another, there's some sort of a equivalence statement, or what we call a conversion factor. So what that is, a conversion factor, is something like 100 centimeters equals 1 meter, or 1,000 millimeters equals 1 meter. So when we use that equivalence statement, or conversion factor, what we want to look for when we're converting the units is the direction of the required change. So always, you want to cancel out or get rid of your unwanted units, or the undesired unit, and convert to your desired unit. And when you do that, that means you're dividing by your unwanted unit to cancel it out. And then, to get the desired unit, you multiply by your desired unit. Okay. And normally in here, remember we said we'll be using the metric system, or all of the SI units. However, if you ever need to convert from the metric system to any English units, you will be given all of these conversions listed here, or any of them that you need to solve a given problem. Okay. So, an example of that, let's say you're playing golf, you want to hit a 6.8 foot putt across a green. We want to know how many inches that represents. So this one you should probably know. So in 1 foot, there are 12 inches. So this is right here, this is the equivalence statement, or conversion factor. So now, when doing this problem, we have to figure out, okay, are we converting from feet to inches, or are we converting from inches to feet? So if we look at our problem, we notice our number is given in feet, and it's asking for inches. Okay, so we are converting from feet to inches, and that determines what conversion factor we use, whether it's this one or this one. So if we look, okay, the feet is the undesired unit. We're trying to get rid of it. We're trying to cancel it out. So that means we have to divide by it. And we know inches, that's our desired unit, so we know we have to multiply that by that one. So that means the one with inches on top and inches on top in the numerator, and feet at the bottom in the denominator, that means that's the conversion factor we have to use for this problem. Okay, so once we decide that, now we can set up our problem. Okay, so the same question. So now we know the conversion factor that we're using. And now, before you do any sort of calculation, you should set up your problem. So first step, write down what's given in the problem. So first step, right here, first step is write down what's given. Always, including the number with the unit. Then we use the conversion factor that we just selected. So insert the conversion factor. And when we do that, it should be obvious that we're using the correct conversion factor, because then what you can do, the next step, right here, step 3, is cancel the unwanted units. So we canceled out feet, and now this problem should make sense. We're left with units of inches on top in the numerator, and that is our desired unit at the end. So step 4 is write out your desired unit at the end. So this is all before you're actually doing any calculations. This is how you should set up every problem. Once again, if you have just an answer with no work, you will receive no credit. Okay, so then, next step, now we can actually do the calculation. Remember, if anything's on top in the numerator, you multiply it. If anything's on the bottom in the denominator, you divide by it. So simply, now you do the conversion, and 6.8 times 12, and you get an answer of 82. However, if you do this on your calculator, you get an answer of 81.6. We look at the beginning of our problem. In our problem, 6.8 feet, right here, that's only 2 sig figs. Remember, for any conversion factor, we ignore the sig figs in any conversion factor. We assume that they are infinite number. We assume it's an infinite number. So that's why 2 sig figs are our answer. Therefore, this number has to be rounded to 2 sig figs, and that's where we get the 82 inches from. Okay, next example. Now we have, it's a little more complicated. So same thing, we're given 4.5 pounds, and we want to know at the end, what's that mass in grams? So we know we want to end up with the correct units. So we know if we have the undesired units here, we know that same undesired units has to go down here. So we know pounds has to go down here. And now we look at our 2 conversion factors that are given to us. We look at the one that includes pounds. So we know here, down here has to go 2.2046 pounds for every 1 kilogram. So now we've just converted pounds. Those are canceled. Now we're left with kilograms. However, our desired unit is grams. So now this problem is slightly more complicated because we need to still convert from kilograms to grams. And if you look here, we're given that conversion factor from kilograms to grams. And now we have to figure out which way to write that conversion factor. Should we put kilograms up here or down here? So we know kilograms is an undesired unit. It's not the unit we want at the end of our problem. So we know it has to cancel out. So we know if kilograms are up here in the numerator, in order to cancel it out, it has to go in the bottom, the denominator. And our desired units are grams, so that has to go up top in our numerator. So those are the 2 units. Now we fill it in with the numbers from our conversion factor. 1 kilogram is equivalent to 1,000 grams. And now when we do this calculation, 4.50 divided by this times 1,000, we get 2.04 times 10 to the 3rd grams. The reason for that, we start with 3 sig figs. We ignore the sig figs in the middle steps here with the conversion factors because those are exact, and we have to round our answer to 3 sig figs. And it should be obvious to you that you did the problem correctly, that you set it up correctly when you end up with the correct units. And always, always include units at the end, but also include them in each step of your problem. All right, that's all for today. See you next time.